Yeah, that. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Hello, hello.
Hey,
How you guys doing?
look, Richard's in the friend. He's in the friend. He's in the chat commenting a lot,
Oh, I was. Yeah, I figured I would keep them entertained. No,
waiting for that prima donna Kelsey.
yeah.
Oh wait,
What do you see?
I had the show on play on the other tab.
Oh, yeah, that can be. Oh man, the night that Eric Canetti and I streamed, and then when he split, it was so weird going from a live stream where you're communicating with like another narrator, and then all of a sudden you're by yourself. I was like, okay, this is really weird.
What? He left the room entirely. He was.
Yeah,
Just,
he had to go. He had to go.
oh, in the middle of the show. Yeah. I
Yeah,
actually want to start doing some live streams, drawing some of the books I got.
right.
Just to kind of get comfortable with it,
Sure.
just myself and, whoever
Yeah,
wants to hang out and watch, draw, ask questions or whatnot.
absolutely. If you, it was funny as Dan Fraga was in the Fraga, he was in the comment section, and I was like, yeah, Dan, come in. like I was immediately like, no, don't leave, because he had to go to bed. It was late for him.
Help me.
I thought, this is weird.
So,
oh, go ahead.
I forgot what we were talking about.
Oh, you organizing all your stuff and getting ready to really be
Organizing.
yeah, an adulter artist.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of goes hand in hand with what we were talking about.
Sure.
I guess last show about getting organized and
Yeah.
but that goes for work as well. It's not, I'm one of those guys that I'll take a book out of the shelf, and go sit on the couch, and then I'll
Right.
leave it by the couch, and I'll come
Right.
get work done, and then I'll grab another book, and go somewhere else, and then it's I got books like all over the house. So now I'm trying to like train myself, take it out, put it back. See, actually, right now I'm guilty of like one of my Akira trades is probably in the bathroom.
Well, you might be missing 3 because there's 6 of those phone books.
Yeah, I don't have all of them. I
Okay.
got some holes in my collection.
Okay. Well,
Not a
maybe
completist.
you'll have to let me know which ones you're missing. Maybe someday I'll gift you a copy.
You got some duplicates?
No,
Word.
but
Oh.
one of the things that was weird is I was thinking about this video. I was going to a dark place. I'm not 100% sure why, but I think in a lot of ways I can relate to Jeffrey Catherine Jones.
Oh yeah.
And the isolation that he felt. So it was weird. Like, honestly, like normally on a day like this, I wouldn't do a video because I was getting really like sort of in an interesting headspace. But
It's a good time to like shake yourself out of that. Maybe we can discuss it, because I watched a video, 2 videos right before this. One was an interview with Catherine later in life, and they asking her questions about death and all this. So it was real dark and definitely in a lonely place. And then I saw this interview from back when the studio was a thing, and it was Barry Windsor Smith, Kaluta, Jeffrey, and I can't forget his name.
well, Bernie Wrightson, Barry Windsor Smith,
Wrightson.
Oh, Wrightson. Okay, yeah.
And it was really interesting seeing Jeffrey being very introspect, not really offering up a whole lot. Windsor Smith and Kaluta being very outgoing and established in themselves, and then watching that and thinking about their artwork, in relation to their personalities. When you look at like Windsor Smith and Kaluta, it's perfectly refined. They know exactly what they want in their art and probably in life.
Yeah.
You look at Jeffrey, Catherine. How are we going to approach this? This is something else. Wait.
Here's the deal, because I've actually done videos on Jeff before, and so here was the thing: is look, if you see interviews with Bernie Wrightson or Kaluta, they go back and forth. Generally, Bernie will call him he. I slip up all the time. I go into it, and like I said, I did a 30 or 40-minute video by myself not too long ago, and I couldn't keep it straight. Sometimes I called him. Sometimes I said she. And just up front, we're going to say, look, we're going to mess up. It would be more annoying to keep correcting ourselves. So if we accidentally say he, we'll say he. If we say she, we'll say she. I've been a fan of Jeff's work for over 20 years. And so for a long time, I just always said he. I didn't know the whole story behind everything. And so it's hard to break that habit. But we're definitely respectful of him.
Yeah, this is someone that we greatly value, and so it's with great respect, even if we're slipping up. So
yeah, but like I said, don't correct yourself, because I just decided for myself, it's like it would be really, it's just going to ruin the pace of the show if we're constantly going she, and then you feel embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was saying was interesting is that you look at Jeffrey stuff, and it goes from very kind of refined, a much clearer thing. And then I'm unsure of the timing. That's kind of why I'm interested in today's show. But then it turns more loose or ephemeral, more impressionistic as time goes on. And I find that interesting juxtaposed to his psyche, maybe really unsure of what's going on in life, I guess.
What was really interesting is, so my first exposure to Jeff would have been probably in the early 2000s. We will get into the art in just a second, but it's there's a decent amount of good backstory that we can cover. But so I would always go to like comic art fans, and I was a member of, I think, a Yahoo group. This would have been probably 2005-ish. And Frazetta was opening all these doors for me. Frazetta was getting me into Rembrandt. Frazetta was getting me into Goya. Frazetta was getting me into people that were influenced by him. Like, I was already a fan of Wrightson. I think I had the studio book. You okay, buddy?
Sorry, go ahead.
And
pardon me.
So Jeff was in a lot of hot water with commission people at that point, and it was really weird. Is he had taken a bunch of commissions over a couple of years and was just kind of vanished. He was very, very difficult to get in touch with. He wasn't delivering the art that people had paid for, and there was a lot of kind of drama around him, and he kind of disappeared. And I've shared this story before, but what was interesting is I was becoming a big fan, and he actually used to have a fairly legitimate website up, and then is I think things were kind of unraveling for him. It started to kind of fall apart, and you could kind of see the image hosts were sort of not representing the images, and there'd be broken links and stuff like that. But it was interesting is there was an email address for him, and I did write him one night, probably around 10 or 11 o'clock on the West Coast. And I'll be damned if he didn't write me back within probably 5 minutes and
wow.
thanked me for a very nice email where I was saying that I just thought he was an incredible artist. And it really blew me away. I wish I would have kept the email, because at the time it didn't occur to me to like screenshot it, or I didn't know that technique. But yeah, he wrote back and said, I really appreciate the nice words. And like I said, that was at a point when he really wasn't replying to anybody. But he was brave enough to shoot me a quick note back. So it was very cool. But all right, so
that's always something that's nice when the your artist that you respect is nice enough to respond. I've had a few of those in my time, but
yeah. Well, I mean, and I consider Jeff to be like a legend, like a real genuine.
All four of these from the studio. Unfortunately, the only one I've ever met was fortunately too, was Wrightson, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, if you get a chance to meet any of these people, don't hesitate. I was scared to death to meet Michael Golden, but I know I'm going to regret it if I don't say hi.
Right. Yeah.
I was so nervous. Wrightson, I wasn't so nervous because I was like, I'd seen his Frankenstein stuff at the time, but I wasn't that familiar, and I was young and brash, and I didn't care. I'm like, yeah, not bad, But the first piece of Jeff's that I've seen was this magazine. It was an art book, the same kind of. It wasn't square bound; it was a little longer,
right?
And he did this cover that was like wraparound, and it was just this wall, and I think it had a woman standing in front of it, maybe with a gas mask or something.
Yeah. I think I have that image. I'm looking for all my Jeff Jones books.
There was this great series of art magazines that were that long format. They had everybody from Mobius to they had everybody. I can't remember what the name of those were. Those were like the Spectrum art books of their day.
Right. The company Arnie and Kathy Fenner, I can't think of what their publishing company is. They did the 3 Frazetta books, Icon, Legacy, and Testament. They did Jeffrey Catherine Jones hardcover book, and you can get it in a slipcase. I have that. And it's signed by Jeff too, which is actually very, very cool. I have his sketchbook like right here. I have this one. My stuff of his is a little spread out.
One thing I wish they would do is, they're doing these art books. Yeah, that's a great one.
And this company publishes a lot of these. They've done several artists. It's Vanguard. But this is great. This is really good.
I would love to see, and I know that this artist isn't, necessarily probably big enough to justify the expense, but those artist edition books where you get to see the original art, Jeffrey's done a lot of like comic book illustration, just black and white, in heavy metal magazines and stuff. And have they ever collected any of that?
No. Yeah. You're gonna see a collection today.
Yay!
I grabbed about 300 images, something like that, maybe a little bit more. It could be close to 400, and that's not even probably 10% of what I have saved of his. I save everything. So if I've seen it online, I'll grab it. My cat knows, right, Kitty?
She's like, don't touch me.
I know, right? So let's get into the book covers, because we actually do have a lot to cover. Oh, and I was gonna say, shoot, what was it? I'll think of it later. It wasn't anything too important, but this should be good. Okay, so I'm gonna share.
It's hard to think of like a favorite era, because there's like the old stuff from the 70s, all those novel covers, which I think you're about to get into, are just outstanding. I mean, they're so fun.
Yeah, we're going to go through the book covers first, and then we'll get into there's a little bit of his fine art painting in here. I mean, the covers are painted, but so let's get it rolling. You got to keep an eye on the chat now.
Okay. Hello, chat. You're in my hands.
So this is a Fritz Weaver Sword and Deviltry cover. This looks rushed to me, but still quite nice.
Yeah, that the style kind of lends itself to being rushed. I mean, that's yeah. You could do that, and it still looks like, oh, this is what they meant.
Well, I think in a couple of the books talks about the different like the sort of the challenges of doing these book covers, and some of them were over art directed, some of them were just rush jobs. Some just, you know what I mean? Like, you know how it is. It's like there's a reality to doing commercial work that can affect the finished art.
Hans Roger Olsland asked, wasn't there a documentary? Yes, it's called Better Things, The Life and Choices of Jeffrey Catherine Jones.
Yeah.
In 2012. So it's fairly recent.
I have it here. James Smith, who's in the comment section, has loaned me his copy of it. So I've watched it 2 or 3 times. It's not as
more about the end, the last days,
right?
Or the transition stuff. Yeah.
It's the Frazetta documentary, Painting with Fire, is a little more art focused, although it does talk about the challenges that Frank faced. But
I need to see that again. I wonder, is that on the Fire and Ice DVD? Did they stick that on there too?
There's a version of it, I think, that comes with Fire and Ice.
Okay.
And speaking of that was what I was going to say, is Sarah Frazetta. So I've been in contact with her. She's definitely coming on. She's 100% coming on. And if people in the chat have questions that they would like to ask Sarah Frazetta, Frank's granddaughter, and pretty much the main person behind Frazetta Girls, let us know, and we'll try to incorporate those into the show. This is a beautiful piece right here.
I was just thinking about how difficult it is to illustrate underwater, and have it look like what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with how the buoyancy of the body is rendered, and this is a pretty good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does feel like this character's underwater here. And that little bit of bubbles. I would have gone crazy with the bubbles.
Right. It was interesting going through the art and kind of getting this ready. This is a later piece, but we'll just look at it now.
This is a very iconic piece for Jones, actually.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of Wyeth meets something. But yeah, so anyway, we'll scoot through this. I'm sure I have this in one of the other folders, but I went on Heritage real fast right before I started the video and grabbed as many big files as I could. So
as a youngster, I would flip past this stuff like at light speed. I was like, nah, and I'd get to this stuff.
So this is the Game of Thrones painting, believe it or not.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, isn't that funny? I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, but yeah, I don't know if he did like novel covers for Game of Thrones and like what year that would have been, but that's what this was credited as, is Game of Thrones.
This is a great piece to show Jones's like strength of composition, because there's a lot of negative space. He uses a lot of negative space in his stuff, and he'll throw stuff off into a corner. And there's something about it that, like, I want to fill the whole frame. And this is, when you look at this stuff, it's like, no, you don't have to. In fact, it's more dramatic if you don't.
Right. Well, we're both fans of simplicity in art. It's funny because I'm dealing with that a little bit right now on the heavy metal thing that I'm working on. The colors came in, and the colors are very detailed, and it's interesting because it's like I have very detailed parts of my work, but I keep stuff very open too. And it's interesting because I want to get the colors that's coloring that kind of on the same page mentally as me. But space is important, and you have to let the viewers' eyes rest.
Yeah.
If you don't let
Jazz Singa sent a super chat for $10 and doesn't say anything, but thank you, Jazz.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jazz. Really appreciate it. So this is beautiful. You'll see a lot of Frazetta influence in these novel covers. Was the time.
I love the figure work. Always great with the figure work. Very natural. I actually look at Jones's stuff for the natural, not just natural body types, but poses in repose. Just not all rigid. They're always very, very natural. Very natural.
She's amazing with that. It's interesting because there was several things that I noticed opening up a lot of the files was the fluidity of the figures and how much life his characters had. It was really incredible.
Hans Roger Olsen says Von Bode. They are pals, actually, and they share a lot in common. And Jeffrey has painted some of Von's stuff, which is really great.
I have a few collabs in here.
I love this stuff. He always did the weird World War II airplane gas mask thing. I always love that look.
I'm telling you, when I was opening the files, I was like, oh, I can totally see why Kelsey likes this stuff. It's like, you're a big fan of Al Williamson or no?
Oh yeah.
So it's like I see a little Al Williamson and a little bit of Jeff's work in your stuff.
I'd love to go back to this, kind of stuff, but you got to keep moving forward. So it's good to just take what is the thing that's really grabbing you, and go on with that.
Yeah. I had mentioned before that I have a student that was taking lessons from me, and they're real passionate about 70s fantasy art, and their concern was that they didn't want their work to look dated.
Yeah, that's I think you could do that and still work because there's not a lot of that necessarily right now, so you'll stand out, but if you could get sort of pigeonholed as, the guy that does the old style stuff.
Right.
It's good to kind of keep a fresh edge on it.
So what makes these figures so dynamic? Is it just the juxtaposition of the limbs? they're always there's a roundness to things and kind of a wrapping, but like even this little devil or angel character that's to her right. I mean, his arm is so nice. It's coming out. It's kind of going back into the frame. And then you've got the hand, but it really is very just. Is it the silhouette that makes it so lively?
Very strong silhouette. Very much doing the contrapposto kind of the bend in the waist. There's always like, there's always this kind of twisting movement. It seems like, and in this particular piece, there's always this sort of compositional element as well. Like it's either, and there's always like a kind of a curve to it. Like even if it's just one guy standing there in a spaceship in the background, there's a curve, like a movement to the body, and it's usually in connection with the other element if there is one. Like in this one, they all kind of have the same flow.
Right, and there's a lot of S curves. Oh, of course, I've got a weird color selected.
I get a lot of my hair treatment from like this stuff. See how it's just like a block of shape? Yeah. This total S curve.
Yeah, just everything is Essen, and even the hand points down, so it's the last S. You know what I mean? On it is a curve down, and this one does it too. It curves up and then down.
I mean, it's hard to do this kind of thing, when you're, drawing for a particular company or character, where I think that's where a lot of these novels. I mean, it's interesting. I'd love to read the novel and see how close
to this stuff. This was a painting that was on Heritage that ended, or you know what? This might actually be up for sale on Heritage right now. So this is something more contemporary, or not contemporary, but obviously not done in the 70s.
Yeah, the subtle values. That's something that still kind of eludes me. That's so great. I love the treatment of the planes too. No, not a lot of detail. It's just flat, but you still read it as like rocky ground planes, stretching off into the distance.
Even the material on this guy's sleeve, it's like he hit it with just a little bit of like a lighter, I don't know what this is, burnt umber.
So subtle.
Yeah.
See, like on the computer or even in real life, that's a trained eye to know what will read in print, because that could have easily disappeared. And in fact, the real thing might be a lot more vivid. We don't know.
Sure.
But Heritage is generally pretty good about their scans. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I have this is I
love this kind of stuff, man. Look at that.
Look at the little creature on his back. It's kind of cute. It looks like a dog and a cat and an alien all at once.
So much movement, and I mean, I love this could have been a cover for The Stars Is My Destination. The way he's like pointing, but Uncharted Stars, it's the same thing. He's like pointing, right? We'll go there.
I love this little piece of technology right here too. It kind of falls into the spaceship thing we were talking about, where it's so simple, but the simplicity of it just makes it so badass.
Very organic. That's something, a word that you can definitely apply to this stuff is organic. Everything is organic. Even the technology. You'll see, like, I've not seen a rigid line in any of the stuff.
No, I know. Dude, I don't think the guy ever used a ruler, honestly.
Yeah, I love this kind of stuff, too, where the background just kind of fades into mist.
Look at this up here. Man, that's cool.
That's like the Frazetta guy coming to save the day. What's his name? Death Dealer.
Death Dealer showed up to save the
or not Death Dealer, or the one from Fire and Ice.
Oh, right. Yeah, man, this is really cool. I actually really like his Frazetta inspired stuff. I'm very sensitive about people that kind of like fly too close to my love of Frank, but Jeff's stuff never bothers me with it.
Well, Jeff stuff is a natural. Like, I almost feel like he would have ended up in this place regardless of. I don't know, Frazetta. Yeah, you got to wonder, like, what this stuff would be like without Frazetta having been on this planet.
this has got a nice Mignola vibe to it. The
I
bats,
love this stuff.
and Mike absolutely loves Jeff's stuff. Hopefully, I don't know if Mike ever watches YouTube, but Mike, if you ever watch this video, dude, I love your work, and hopefully you enjoy this video.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I always loved the influence from Mignola, from Frazetta, and from guys like Jeff, like the especially the Frazetta stuff, like the loose sketches where you can see the shadow of the character, and then the shadow of like a tiger, and then it'll have the shadow of the tiger, and then it'll bleed into the shadow of the tiger on the rock. Right. And there's not really a lot of separation, and Mignola will just black that in.
Yeah.
But you see guys like Frank and Jeff do it, like where it's misty. It's not like a straight solid color.
Right. There's some really interesting techniques up here. This little like blood splatter or whatever it is pretty interesting.
Again, the composition of this, where the hair kind of folds around the edges of the and the coffin is almost only defined by the atmosphere and the elements around it.
There's a little tiny bit of edges right here.
Yeah.
See like handles, but yeah, he did a really good job with that. I think it was expertly done. Man, this is so nice. I don't think I had ever seen this piece before, to be honest. I love this technique. You could see the underpainting of the probably burnt umber underpainting they did which would be just defining kind of the shadows and highlights, or the value of it, and then they go over with the paint on top. But they leave some out. I love that technique where they don't cover up the underpainting entirely, so you can kind of see it. And these originals exist somewhere in the world right now. Somewhere this is sitting in someone's collection, or who even freaking knows.
How many did he do? There must have been hundreds, if not
a lot. It burned him out, I think, at one point, if I remember correctly. I may have a better scan of this one, but this is a very, very cool piece.
Again, those organic technology, I love it.
Yeah, very, very pixely.
Did a lot of those type of helmets, the fishbowl, but just with the singular eye hole. He did a comic with Spaceman guys that I love. I just love it.
I have it. Some of it looks like it's scanned from the original art too. I found there was some really nice looking stuff that I had. This is cool. I don't think I had ever seen this. The cape is beautiful.
How big do you think this stuff is? Do you have any clue?
Probably 10 by 14 ish, somewhere around there. I don't think they were huge, but I don't think that they I would say probably like 10 by 14, somewhere in there, 12 by 16.
I just realized that the chat in StreamYards has stopped, so I'm going over to YouTube to see.
Okay, I can grab my iPad too.
I was wondering why nobody was saying anything, and I go into the YouTube and okay. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything, any questions or anything.
What's interesting is this cape to me looks very, very similar to a cape that Bernie Wrightson owned. And I've seen photos of him when he was young wearing in reference photos. So it would be interesting to know if it's actually, what I'm seeing is what I think it is. But this could actually be Bernie Wrightson's cape that they sort of posed in to get some of these the layered folds right here. Maybe not though, but.
That looks pretty simple. That might be just from years of having done folds.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past her to do, reference. Yeah. Sometimes it's really easy to simplify it when you see it, and you're like, oh, okay, I could just do this line, that line, boom, done.
And this one looks like a quickie. You can kind of see it, like he definitely probably knocked this one out quite quick.
Yeah, like what's happening here? Is that like waves standing in water there, or?
Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be water, but it's definitely like some sort of like smoke waves or something.
Yeah,
it definitely has that feel. Oh yeah,
I wish I had the guts to be not so literal like that, and do something more from the gut. This it's like that doesn't necessarily probably say anything literal from the book, but it gives you the emotion of it, you know.
Sorry, the my mouse, the cord has got a little bit of a short, and it'll keep sounding like it's disconnecting. His underpainting, the colors that he used for the underpainting up here in particular are really beautiful. I love the peachy pinks and the sort of yellow ochre, and then it goes to this nice green, and then down here it's a little more sort of fruit punch colored. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm having weird issues with the chat.
This is a later piece because you can also see his signature has changed, but this is a nice little book cover.
Oh, this is very much influenced by
Wyatt?
who am I thinking of? Wyeth, yeah. I always love this. This is a much taller piece than they cut off the top. I think it goes up the full height of the image, the book.
I actually have some of the wraparound book covers that are very, very cool. So those will be coming up in a second, but you're actually going to see the back cover. And it's always weird to see the left side of the painting being like the negative space, you know, because the front is on the right. And so, it's really a trip to see them. I have a couple of scans of this. So this
is a weird cover.
This is a paint.
I like that. That looks a bit more modern. Like maybe
it is for sure.
Because the color is so rich too. I mean, usually you don't see this level of vibrancy in the color.
Oh, this is a really nice.
Oh, now we're talking. I love this stuff. Look at those lines. Look at that arm. This is something I'm really working on is the forearm. Because when you start, or at least for me, when I start learning the anatomy, I want to draw every muscle.
Right.
And then you go back and look at this kind of stuff and you see how they're applying the musculature under the skin.
Right.
You know, and man.
It's interesting because her breasts are actually crooked. Like the breast on our right side is quite a bit bigger than the one on the left, or the way that it's moving is.
She used to do that a lot. I think that was for, a subtle realism or a movement, maybe.
Sure.
Movement.
Yeah, no, definitely. So when you were talking about the forearms, were you talking about the monster's forearms or the woman's forearms?
Both. Especially the way she draws women is like these, a lot more meat on the bones.
Right.
And there's just suggestion, and it takes a deft hand to kind of know what to add and what to leave away, what to take away.
Right.
This is just brilliant. And I was mentioning before about how when you get to a certain level, you start defining the figure with shadow instead of straight line work. And
I'm trying to get more of that into my stuff right now. It's funny because I draw literally, and I want more of this. So yeah, it is funny.
Okay, my chat finally kicked back in. It was broken. It wasn't moving, but now everybody's stuff is coming through. So
okay, so I want to point this out to patrons that have watched any of my hand drawing videos, or if you've ever heard me talk about hands. I tell people all the time, hands are not as hard to draw as you think, but there's 3 fingers that are key, and I just want to point this out. It's the thumb, the pointer finger, and the pinky. The two in the middle, they're sort of like pals that hang out together.
Yeah.
If you can set up the wedge of the palm or the top of the hand, and you get your thumb and pointer finger and pinky working, it really falls into place a lot easier. But you can see it's the wedge and these 2 fingers, and then this one he's suggesting the middle finger a little more. But
you could do that. Like I'll do that occasionally. Like work those 2.
Thumb and pinky.
But like most of the time, I'm doing this number, where these 2 are kind of down, the pinky kind of comes back up a little bit.
Right.
That's like my general repose hand.
But it just, when you see
like that one. Yeah.
Right. And when you see an artist at this level that sketches out hands and he's setting it up that way, though, you definitely know you're on to the right, like you've stumbled onto the right path. So
there's also a general rule of thumb is that you only really have 2 joints in a finger.
Right.
Unless it's a villain, then you add that 3rd one.
Okay.
And you get that claw.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So if you're drawing like a sexy woman, you just kind of want to do two bends generally. And you kind of like, you can add a little subtle indication of, the nail part going down. But
yeah,
It just
Yeah.
tends to look more elegant when you simplify it. Unless it's a baddie, then you claw that sucker.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that. Okay, so this was a print set that they did, and it was, of all people, Dan Green, Jeff Jones, Michael Kaluta, Al Williamson, and Bernie Wrightson. How interesting is that?
These are all artists that
did. It was a print set together that you could buy a portfolio called the Edgar Rice Burroughs portfolio. But this
I can spot them right now. Top one is that's Jones. Top one is Williamson.
Okay,
and you can just tell by the way he handles the background. And this one,
Kaluta. Yeah, Kaluta.
Yeah, it must be Kaluta. That's more crosshatch.
Yeah, and somewhere I have the other ones. They might not pop up right after this, but here's the Jeff Jones piece I want to show. This is a beautiful, beautiful pen and ink piece, and this is probably 5 to 8 years after the stuff that we were just looking at, like the book covers.
So this is a great example of what I try to do a lot. You see where the light, like when the foot is touching the plane of the tree,
right?
Where the light's hitting, there's gaps in it. You can see it on the cat as well,
right?
Where it's there's not a lot of line in between the plane where the character touches and that indicates like a real connection.
Yeah,
you know, and you could do it with the shadows and stuff. But that again, that's a little bit of that, letting the shadow kind of define the volume and the form.
So beautiful. Look at the tail. The tail is just
colorists hate that too.
Oh right, yeah, because you have to go in and outline everything. With,
Heaven forbid they do some work.
Sure. Well, you know, the thing is one of the things that I love about your approach for Blaster Kid is the fact that you're just painting over the pieces. It's like you're not like traditionally flatting it. I like that better. Like if lines, like if you looked at your backyard really fast and you took in what you were seeing, it's like there's no real. It's all kind of connects, you know, and
yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that either. You should always have some kind of flats.
You do think flats though?
Well, so you can always go back and like grab a section, but you know, if you just do broad flats, you're fine. Just the sections.
Here's the Wrightson print, so we'll sneak that in.
God, so good at clothing.
Yeah. Oh man, it's nice.
The same kind of thing. There's not a lot of line work if you look at it.
Yeah,
she is almost entirely defined by the shadows of the beast and her hair. There's almost no real line work there.
Yeah, there was a real interesting point where a lot of the studio guys actually drew kind of similar. You could see little traits of each person coming in. So this is a later piece, but again, it was a high-res scan off of Heritage, so I just thought I would throw it into this folder.
I really like this era too because she did a lot of like Tarzan images, and you know, it was very impressionistic and dealt mostly with like light and value and stuff. And it had this brush technique, which I don't know if I'm sure has a name. It's like, but it's like a stipple for paint almost.
The biggest heartbreak is I really, really wish that we could have seen footage of Jeff working. Oh my God, that would have been incredible.
Oh yeah.
So this is Idol, or
this is some of my favorite stuff. I actually went to like half-price bookstores just to find old heavy metal magazines.
Yeah,
just to get this stuff.
So we'll zoom in on this because this is a super, super high-res scan of this, but you can really see his how he lays down the ink. If you look, he does actually outline. You can see that there was a nib that had originally outlined these fold shapes, and then he goes in with a brush and drops in the blacks, which is similar. This is similar to Mignola's technique.
That's very controlled. Not really what I would expect from his style, but do you do that? Do you outline?
I outline all my blacks. It's so annoying. I wish that I didn't have to. Looks like in here he didn't though. But yeah, I do. It's just a control thing. Once I'm more confident, I won't need to do it as much. But yeah, I want to see what my folds look like and stuff. But you can definitely see areas where he didn't. Like this hair looks like it's just brush.
God, so good. And just the flowers and the foliage and stuff, how it's just couple little lines, and suddenly, I mean, your mind fills it in.
Yeah,
You know what's going on.
so good.
The anatomy and stuff. The back of that arm. What do you call that? Tricep.
Yeah,
This,
yeah, right here. Yeah, yeah, it's just so killer.
and the elbow too is
Yeah,
such. I just draw a little whoop,
yeah.
but that's a real elbow right there.
I know. You can see. Well, it's like where the bony planes protrude. The furthest, like closest to the skin. But man, you can really feel the connectors there. It's amazing. I mean, she is absolutely incredible. Like, just, I mean, these drawings are so freaking good.
You think probably had a model for this?
He could.
I think in the studio they had they had to have brought in models for life drawing and things like that.
I mean,
because they were all very old school in their art.
This looks like Coda, honestly.
Maybe.
They're like, Mike, I'll buy you lunch. Just get naked and can you sit on this pile of towels?
He's like, just be generous.
I know. Right? So this looks like Jeff to me, honestly. The face looks a little bit like a self-portrait. The anatomy on this is so badass. Oh my god!
I love there's this line right behind the knee, and it's like a tendon.
This right here.
That tendon right there. I love drawing that in the leg, but it's so good. And how the bleed, you could just barely make out the hand touching the rock.
Yeah.
So great. You think he had those earrings?
Possibly. It's wouldn't surprise me.
Again, that negative space. I just love that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Look at right here, the paint. I love that you can, this is such a good scan. You can actually see the strokes of paint on this. It's nuts.
Probably make out brush hair in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure.
Occasionally. So Catherine was mostly an oil painter. Jeffrey. Yeah. So some of this stuff looks. There's one piece that almost looked like marker. And also other pieces that look like gouache. So I don't.
This is Wrightson and Jeff collaboration.
Doing a very much a Frazetta cartoon style.
Yeah. I don't know who did what. It could have been Bernie drew it and then Jeff painted it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But yeah, it's funny.
But this looks like the watercolor, which I'm sure.
They were clearly intentionally trying to do the Frazetta movie post thing. Here's one of the Tarzan pieces that you like. This is a little bit of a loose one, but this is from that time period.
Okay, Paulus Art says the YouTube chat is acting weird. So, all right. Okay. That's it. I love this style. The much more bold. Even though it's impressionistic and you don't really get to see a lot of the detail, it's really bold in its shapes and its the color in this one's really great.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. It's incredible too because we're so spoiled with color now, and obviously people, especially with digital stuff. I mean, you can just sample palettes that worked. You know what I mean? If you want these colors in a piece, here you go. You can just take them right off the thing, dude. The fact that they would figure this stuff out on a palette, paint it, and create the light that way is just incredible. Really amazing.
Well, Jeffrey did a lot of prelims, right? Or just loose sketches. I wonder if you did any value sketching.
Sure, I would imagine so, for sure.
Oh, this is kind of strange.
It's
like somebody behind her.
Yeah, it looks like beautiful arms on this. It's funny. It has a little bit of this reminds me a little bit of how you draw. Not this.
Yeah, I probably have gotten a lot of stuff from this, from all this work. Look at those hips, man. I need to work on my hip action. Look at that.
I know. Pop it more.
Yeah, and again, organizing all the elements into this compositional tower, or this shape.
Sure.
Yeah, really great. I don't know what that is. Oh, I love that wing head stuff. That always looks cool when you do something coming off the head like that. Oh, it's a bird on his shoulder.
Yeah, but what's funny is this reminds me a little bit of there was a period where Norman Rockwell kind of his stuff started to look like this, and the grayness of this color reminds me of it too. But I mean, I would imagine that Jeff probably liked Rockwell's stuff. I mean, he's really, really good.
Electric L says pointillism. Paula Start says dabbing or scrumbling. I guess the little
yeah. It's a cool look. It's definitely something that I like more now than I did when I was younger. When I was younger, it would have been too rough, I think, for my aesthetics.
I love this one.
Yeah.
Is this an Elric one? What is this?
Funny. I was thinking Elric too.
Yeah.
Elric has obviously got white hair, but doesn't Elric has a brother that I think is not an albino.
It's really interesting. This little splash of color of this aqua and orange.
Yeah.
But everything else is very muted. But I mean, my eye goes right to that. And I'm wondering, well, it goes to his shoulder and then over to that.
Dude, I mean, who owns all these paintings? Like this, it's crazy.
It's got to be out there.
And Jeff had very, very little of his work. It all over, say from 1980 to 2010, it all got sold. He probably died with very, very few pieces.
AM says skipping class for this. Learn a lot more from these streams. Yeah, I hope it's our class. You can skip our class.
Our class is free, so it's like even better. We're talking about though. What's funny, Kelsey, is I was getting the colors in for the heavy metal stuff. I really felt like I had a point of view now. I really understand drawing. I really understand color. I understand materials. And it was exciting being able to look at stuff and really know why I didn't think things worked and why the things that I didn't think worked. It's exciting to learn about art and understand it,
Well, coloring, this is kind of why I want to do some really in-depth.
This is beautiful, by the way.
This is okay. So somebody was asking, Hassan Wallace says, is the Tarzan piece in watercolor or oil-based? Like oil. This piece here, I think it's just really, really thinned out oil paint.
Yeah.
I think she's just really, really good at it. I'm not sure how that works. It's just a different way of approaching it. Instead of building up, you're doing really thin washes and then probably wiping away for like white,
This is amazing piece. Jeez Louise. This one's so good.
But we were talking about, I want to do some like long form, like actually from reading script all the way through to coloring stages, because there's a lot of nuance to like that it's hard to get across in just a quick video, but it's also just a set of repetitive tasks. Like painting, like this painting probably started a lot like the others. Once you get painting, you're doing an undercoat, you're doing an underwash, which is like establishing all your shadows and values. Then you're building up washes of your base tones and then highlights. Comic coloring works very, very similar. And once you get the what to do, you can spend more time on what you're doing with it, But yeah, you could. I'm going to teach Rich how to do some Photoshopping.
Yeah,
coloring.
So check this out. I want to show you a few different things. This right here is freaking gorgeous. Like I could stare at this little area right here all day and try to imagine what's over here. But look at how he drew. Well, the arm is beautiful. This arm that he drew. Look at the hand. What he did with the hand. He really shows you this one knuckle, and you can really see the tendon going to like the pointer finger. The thumb is there. The rest of the hand just vanishes, but it looks so good.
It kind of disappears into the shadow, but
it's crazy.
Christopher Ruddy, will this video be available for later viewing? Yes,
absolutely. Yeah. It takes about 12 hours. If you have the link right now, you can just come back to it. But for whatever reason, StreamYard and YouTube, it'll show up tomorrow where you'll see it listed on my channel. This leg is gorgeous too, but look at the arm right here. Man, he crushed it in this little area.
See, this is like you were talking about the hand disappearing. That's something you can really only do in painting. In comic art, unless you're coloring yourself in comic art, but it's still really difficult to pull that off and have it look right. In like, you almost need that softness of paint.
This is amazing too. This woman,
like having her face go into shadow, and you can kind of make out her eyes, but they're not there.
Yeah.
But it's not that she doesn't have eyes, it's just you can't see them because your eyes can't focus in the darkness, Dude.
So
that hand is brilliant.
I know the whole thing. That's actually this.
Wait. That splash of rock that they're sitting on. You see that shape that he makes there?
It's right here. Yeah.
It's just really interesting and natural, but it does lead your eye as well.
Yeah.
It's just this little splash of rock, of ground plane, and that one little plant sells it.
Yeah. I love the plant. The plant I think is great. Dude, this is my favorite piece that we've seen so far. I think this one right now.
I really dig it. Yeah, I really dig it.
Man.
And those little spots of green too really draw your eye. It's the most saturated color on the whole thing.
This right here too, this little bit of blue.
Purple, yeah.
Like, oh man, it's like, god damn.
Yeah, if you add, I actually do this a lot. Like if you look at my a lot of my stuff is I'll throw purple into the shadows, and around the light, you do some of that real bright whitish yellow. This is weird.
You remember there's an era of Frank. Frank had a few paintings where he would use simple shapes like this.
Yeah.
And it's funny that Jeff, that she decided to do a few pieces like this. It's funny.
Skull Smasher says all these book covers look so much better than most of the stuff we see in current fantasy books. That's true, because they've gone over to photo bashing in a lot of novel covers.
And digital painting. What's funny is I've been looking at the Arcana book that Dungeons and Dragons released. It's almost an 800-page art book, and it's just the digital painters are so good. They're really, really incredible artists. They're so freaking talented, but the digital paintings just lack soul. And I love digital painting. I really do. But man, when you see, like, I wish that there was some connector to the traditional. Just
I have to think, because like I've done stuff where I've imported actual physical art into digital art, and it brings life to it. So I have to think that there's something about the organic process of actually doing it by hand. There's a randomness that the computer will never be able to emulate.
Yeah, it's interesting because there were some pieces that were just mind-boggling good. They're so incredible, and it's like it just doesn't have that the lift, But I think that they could get it. There needs to be, like you said, maybe if the underdrawing was traditional or something.
Yeah, I kind of want to do things where there's sometimes where the digital art is more appropriate, and other times where the real art, the stuff like this.
That's cute.
Yeah, that's fun.
Like
good old male fantasy covers. Those are great.
Right. I know. I don't even think about the content, but it's like, yeah, right. It's like dude in loincloth, the girl's chained up and like nearly nude. It's like, all right. Let's go.
These kind of covers, he's probably getting, $500 for. He probably does it in one sitting, just boom, 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 done.
Oh my god, this is hysterical. So it's the spawn of the death machine. That's like, it sounds like a Queens of the Stone Age album cover name. And then this is great. I love the quote. Was he a barbaric Superman or a computer created monster?
And the image has nothing to do with any of that. It's just it could have been a sketch that he had that he sold for this cover.
Yeah, there's
somebody in New York came by, some art director came by his studio and was like, "Can I have this?"
There's like nothing. Well, and as a kid, this would confuse me because I would read that and I'd be like, well, where's the computer monster part of him? I don't see it. Like they could have at least put bolts on his neck or something. We've seen this already. This is interesting.
There's Jeffrey again.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's almost got a little bit of like a Dave McKean kind of vibe to me.
What's hilarious is that looks like Jeffrey with the knife, and then that looks like Windsor Smith on his back.
Right. And my friend. It's like, he's like, Barry, get naked. I'm going to carry you around. Mike's going to snap some photos. Just go with it.
Jeffrey was always trying to get the guys naked in the studio.
Yeah. I think they're all.
I love the. Oh, that's another body down there. Wicked.
Oh, is it? I'm almost feeling like it's like a snake or something, but yeah, maybe it is a body.
Well, you see the arm, and then the legs are kind of folded in, like she's sitting and then laying. But then there's like
I see it.
But then the above it looks like cloth or something blowing in the wind. Like I don't know, or they're underwater almost. And then there's that weird fan above it. Yeah. I don't know what I'm seeing, but it's cool.
Very abstract. Oh, look at this. These are so cool. I love seeing the gatefold open.
All right, here we go. Richard Dunn for $10. Yeah, thanks, Rich. If you're interested in learning this type of painting technique, check out Patrick J. Jones' oil painting technique. He goes step by step.
Wow, I would definitely check that out.
Any relation? Jones? Patrick J. Jones?
Jeff has a daughter. I don't think he had other children, but I'm nearly sure in the documentary his daughter is in it quite a bit.
Also, one more from Richard Dunn for $5.
Thank you, Richard.
I'm a huge Frazetta fan too, but you guys give him way too much credit. JJ was his contemporary along with others.
Oh, absolutely.
This was a very popular style. So, Jeff and Frazetta were. I think Frazetta's a little bit older, right? Like he was.
Frank is older than Jeff. Frank was a fan of Jeff's work. I've talked about that in other videos. Frank actually really liked Jeff's work.
Oh, yeah, sure.
When people would come to the house, like they would bring Frank gifts, like, books from the city, art books and stuff like that. And Frank, from what I understood, would many times ask, like, if Jeff had released new stuff and if they could bring that to him. So he definitely liked it, for sure.
Yeah, I'm wondering where, like, because Richard's saying we give Frazetta too much credit, but I mean, in my mind, he was kind of like not necessarily the pioneer of that, but maybe the guy that popularized it. I don't know. Like, this is kind of why we're doing this deep dive into even Frazetta's people that were influenced and even people that influenced him, because it's really fascinating.
Jeff was definitely emulating Frank for a little bit early in his painting career. I don't doubt that, but I mean he really took it in his own way. He was with a great group of artists. The fact that they created that studio concept, I think, really probably gave all four of those guys a lot of ideas.
Oh, wow.
And they were friends with some of the same people. Krenkel could have crossed over into that group. Kaluta was quite the Kaluta's real outgoing, and I'm sure that they all started pulling from the same sources. Meaning that they could ask Krenkel, what are you looking at? What artists are you checking out? Oh, there's this Russian painter.
Well, much like we do, Gosh, man, anytime I'm always like, look at this. So are you. I mean, a lot of people, comic book artists, we love trading stuff.
There's a Russian painter that would paint a lot of prehistoric stuff, and there's definite things that Frank took from his work, and my guess is that Krenkel turned him onto it. I can't think of the guy's name. There's a blog you can find where they break down a bunch of his work and show where Frank sort of borrowed from it. It's definitely an influence on Frank. I can't think of the artist's name, but
I love that piece that you just passed. But this one too. This is one that I had faved.
Yeah,
I love it when you can make it like this, where she has loose drapery, but she's running, so you can see her body form in the drapery.
Yeah,
and that's such a trick, such a hard thing to pull off well. Especially when all you have is lines. It's another thing that paint really, really excels at.
So my guess with this piece would be that he probably shot reference for it.
More than likely. Sergio's sketchbook. Sorry if it's been asked already. Is there still a demand for this kind of work? I've always wanted to do good covers. I don't know. I'm sure there's some art directors out there that would love to have some old school stuff, but they're probably afraid that it wouldn't sell, because of it's not modern looking enough.
So this would be my suggestion to you is why not create a body of work where you capture the spirit of this work and then try to crowdfund it. See if you can build up a big enough following where you get 30 or 40 pieces together and release it as your own art book, like what if pulp covers, what if fantasy covers. The key to any of this stuff is you have to have a consistent
consistency.
Thought. Yeah, it's like we talked about this when we did the Art Station deep dive, and I think people missed one of the points, but a lot of times those galleries, as fantastic as they are, there's no consistent train of thought from one piece to the next.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you can create a body of work that people can connect with, you could do a bunch of these sci-fi fantasy pieces and it would appeal to those people. But if you do this one day and then you do Superman fan art, and then the next day you're doing a chibi version of Spider-Man, no one will know what you're into.
Plus you're developing a fan base as you're building this body of work, and people come to expect this from you, and then art directors will seek you out for that thing.
Right.
Oh, this person will be perfect for this story. And then it won't really matter how you did it. It's that your work is appropriate for what they're looking for. But
so if you love like sci-fi pulp covers, I would recommend you need to own it. Own a color palette or something that makes your stuff identifiable, and then run with it.
Yeah, Richard Dunn says, if you like this style, check out Robert McGinnis, Patrick J. Jones, Boris Vallejo, and Rovina. I'm not familiar with Rovina. I might be.
I'll watch this.
But Robert McGinnis is one of my absolute all-time favorite artists in general. It's freaking amazing. Love to do one of them too.
We could do a Robert video. So let's hustle through these book covers because we've got a ton more to cover, and we'll look at this. This is pretty cool.
Thungor, more of that.
Yeah.
Look, this is great with the composition as well, because even though he's got the background, he's got the bodies and the moment of action there centered in this one column of a composition.
I love her breaking apart the stonework to like get them out, I guess. That's awesome. Or she's holding it up. What do you think? Is she breaking it apart or holding it up?
I don't know. Maybe hold it up. I don't know.
I feel like she's holding it up.
Hey, got to read the book.
Oh, yeah.
I got to find out.
And then the scene won't be in there. Oh, this is cool.
The Yingling.
Man, you were really quick on catching the names, the book covers.
What is going on there? Is he coming out of the tree there? What is happening there? Where are the legs?
I don't know. This girl is really attractive. She's cute.
Yeah.
This is nice, man.
I like the snow guys. Yeah.
So cool.
It's really hard to do white on white kind of snow stuff, and you see he's got tons of color in there.
Yeah.
Purples, greens.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
And look at the hands. Like the hands are so simple. This is beautiful. This actually has a little bit of a Maxfield Parrish kind of vibe, the way they painted the figure here a little bit, the luminosity, but like these hands are just really like suggesting this guy's got a very broad forearm.
I actually still do a lot of hands like that where it's just that shape. And I got that from Mignola, so I guess he's getting this from maybe Jeff and Frank probably.
It was interesting so Mike was talking online like a year or two ago that he had done an art trade for a piece of his, and it was for a Jeff Jones painting, I believe, or something Jeff Jones, but an art dealer really wanted he really wanted a piece from Mike, and Mike didn't want to get rid of it or something to the effect of that. And so the dealer was like, well, what would you trade for? And then but it was a Jeffrey Jones piece. So I don't know if Mike has ever shown the piece that he got, but I would be curious of what it was. I'm sure it was great.
Miguel Laura Rodriguez says, reminds me of Caravaggio.
Right.
A couple pieces ago, probably.
Yeah. Caravaggio's great. Lee Bermejo got me a book of Caravaggio's stuff. So look at this. This is pretty cool.
Richard John says, sorry, it's the art teacher and me. I could go on for hours about this work. So could we. That's the whole point of this.
Maybe we'll have you as a guest one day, Richard. We could.
Yeah, we're trying to like explore all this kind of stuff. So please, if you got stuff, bring it up. We love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do these videos to learn, honestly. Like, it's not for me to like flex. I like.
Yeah, I mean, this is also fun because there's a lot of stuff like I haven't seen. You
Yeah,
know, like this. I've never seen this piece before.
it's awesome, right? It's so
It's really
cool.
good.
It's a nice big scan of it too.
I still do hair like this. I do these weird shapes
Yeah,
for hair, and I wonder if I got that from
her body's
Jones. That's
great.
interesting. Very
Cool.
watered down technique.
Wow, this is weird. Oh wait, wow, that's trippy.
It's like the head is totally in shadow.
Yeah, I'm like, but is this the arm for this body?
Yeah, I think so.
It's
Like
really how
well,
like
it's draped over like this, and then
oh
the face is all in shadow.
oh
It might be a little off actually, but
yeah, it feels a little weird. Like this almost looks like a different person's body, like draped over this figure.
yeah,
Like there's a person here.
it could be. Oh yeah, there might be.
This is one person right here, side view of the head.
Yeah.
This is another person that they're laying over, and this is all decayed. I'm doing that with a mouse.
That's pretty good for a mouse.
Oh, and here's the cover. So this is The Quest of Kaji.
I would love to do comic covers with this use of negative space and text.
Yeah.
I always loved novel covers because they would have these great text.
This is a funny one.
It's almost like the Illustrated Man.
Yeah.
That's a very quickie. That looks like a very quickie.
They're like, can you have time to do the hybrid cover? He's like, how much does it pay? All right, let's do
it. I got an afternoon. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, right? Oh, look at this. Jeff Jones spasm. Wow. I love the frog.
What the heck is this? Is this one of his comics?
It's an adults-only comic from Last Gasp.
Oh, I'm going to have to look for this.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I'm not sure. This might be a collection of some of those short one-panel pages.
KFab will do a video on it in 3 days and get 10,000 views.
Probably. Yeah, well, good for them. I'll watch it. This is really great. Pen and ink.
Yeah, it looks like a back cover for something, possibly.
Yeah, I love that technique. You think this was done on blue line, or you think?
No, I think. Oh, you mean the colors?
Yeah, like because usually when they do something like this, they'll print the black on a acetate and then paint on an artboard and then put the line art on top to preserve the line art. But I would bet that he probably did this. I'm
catching a little bit of color on the inks right here.
Yeah.
There's a sepia color, so I'm thinking that the ink looks like it's on board.
I always wanted to try doing it where you draw it and then paint it and then ink over the top of that and keep your inks black.
Right, people do that for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. This is cool. This is kind of a riff off of there's a Frazetta piece with this. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, this is nice.
Oh, there's another classic.
Man, it's so beautiful.
This is what makes me want to be a cowboy. or a wild man. I don't know. She looks like a native.
Yeah, it's so good, man. God damn. Look at how dark it is up here, but you can still see a little bit of that like blue. Man, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. So good. Think he did a splatter or went in and dot all of those stars.
It doesn't look like splatter. I mean, this could be a little bit in these areas, but it looks like some of it's painted. Man, it's nice.
The composition again, I love he frames in this like column, right? He puts her in front of the tree.
Yeah.
To create I don't know what symmetry, I guess. But then there's that splash of shadow where she's looking from, almost as if there's a guy on a horse or something right off panel. Yeah, what she's walking up to.
What do you think this story? Yeah, there is. This actually does look like a horse riding up. What do you think this light source is? That's on the ground. Is it a cabin or something that's got like because this is very white light.
It is. It could be some ethereal ghostly presence or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really good.
I just had to do a piece coloring over someone that had snow, and he wanted it at night where the snow is being hit by firelight. But when I hit it with the orange of the firelight, it suddenly doesn't look like snow. So I had to go white with it and just be like, well, we're just gonna fake it. But maybe it's just because it doesn't look like snow at that point, when you're adding other temperature to it. Oh, real quick, Richard John, $25.
Oh my gosh, Richard, thank you so much, dude. So this is another one of my favorite.
Let me read his super chat. Last one for today. Thanks so much for this stream. It really brings a smile to my face to see this work being discussed. This work really inspires and demonstrates the timeliness of solid artwork. Keep it up, guys.
Oh, thank you so much, Richard. We really appreciate it.
All right, what were you saying?
I was saying that this is one of my favorite early Jeff Jones.
Really?
Oh yeah, hands down. I think this thing is amazing.
What about it grabs you?
The Maxfield Parrish style lighting on the figures really it's got this ethereal quality. There's a lot of detail in the figures that's very subtle value changes.
Yeah, it is really good.
That's high level shit, man. This like painting backs with these colors and getting that look, I mean, it's hard to see a little bit, but like even this little, it's really expertly done.
I love the light hitting right there where it goes from all that green to like orange and yellow and right where the light's hitting.
Yeah, it's just really, really cool. The pose that the guy is in is very like just unusual, but yet something that you would see. Like he's kind of knock-kneed, like both of his feet are sort of tilting in.
Sergio's sketchbook kind of related. Juan Jimenez's work on the Metabaron series is really inspiring me right now. Yeah, that's another great one.
This is not a great one. We gotta get to the pen and ink stuff and the paintings. We're like, there's so many book covers in here. This is nice.
Yeah, we're already an hour and 11 in.
Okay,
yeah, so, look at that. That was another one of my faves.
Here, I can open it really quick.
Oh no.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Let's just keep going.
Okay.
There's so much. I mean, there's so many faves.
So this is kind of earlier. You can tell it's not drawn probably as well as his later stuff.
Using the wings as a framing device too.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the painting for this.
Love it. I would love to have that on my wall. It's almost Phil Hell.
Yeah. And this is a little bit later because I can see that's his more later signature. It's the J with the dot and the box. And it's funny because that's kind of how Mignola signs his name. Mike, did you get that from Jeffrey? Oh, and this is
probably. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I just had to sign my work, so I put it in.
I'm friends with Tom Coker, and Tom would do the T in the square, and it, like that, kind of like for a Mignola sort of thing.
I used to love the little torn paper that somebody used to do. Mignola might have done that too. A little torn piece of paper.
Right. Okay, I think we are. Oh yeah, these are two Wonder Woman covers. Believe it or not, isn't that crazy?
Back when she was a nasty girl.
Was she? What was she up to back then? Was she doing like some?
Well, she started as kind of an S&M thing. From the guy that created her was like a psychologist, exploring S&M fantasy stuff. I guess. I mean, there's probably more nuance to it than that. There was a movie made about it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I heard that Wonder Woman is like one of the DC properties that the family actually gets quite a bit of the revenue from. Still.
I heard that. That's fascinating. So, and that's why they don't do a whole lot of Wonder Woman stuff, which I thought was interesting. I was like,
well, what's funny is I always wondered that years ago, and I'm talking like years and years ago, I always found it weird that Wonder Woman seemed like such a no-brainer to really put out there, because it's like you've got Batman and Superman, and I would always kind of think like, surprised they don't do more with Wonder Woman, but that does make sense if that's.
Well, I mean, that's the triad: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, forget about it, and you figure. Female character. Oh, this is Frazetta. Sorry.
I feel like I'm missing super chat somehow. The chat chat is acting kind of strange, so we may have to go back at the end and
I'll check. Yeah. So this is a later piece. Very, very cool.
There's kind of a bringing in, it's still organic, but the shape language is changing.
Yeah.
If you look at the tiger, there's Claire Windling kind of does shape. I don't know how to describe that. It's still organic, but it's organized into more angular. I don't know the words.
I love this area of the cat's body. There's a lot going on here. That's the rib cage and this upper part where the shoulder blade connects in and stuff like that is all really, really beautiful. I don't know, who Jeff was looking at in his later years, if he even would check out art.
Probably nobody. I think there's a part. Oh, here it is again. This is one of my faves. I think there's a point where you become influenced by yourself. And it sounds like a weird thing to say. It sounds like egotism. But for me, like I don't spend a whole lot of time looking at other stuff anymore. It's more about just getting the work done.
Right.
And when I get stumped, I'll, or if I'm just wanting to take a break, I'll go look at stuff. But it's not quite as much as I used to, where I'm like trying to learn, or I don't know, and taking from other people their style,
Right. Yeah.
But like this piece, like I'm influenced by this because of the composition,
right,
and how everything flows up to this character, and that one knife breaking the silhouette of that character,
right?
That blade.
We haven't even got into the pen and ink stuff yet. We're going to be melting.
We might have to do a part 2 of this one too.
Here, so let's move through these really quick and just finish this up with a book cover.
I like that one, very Frazetta.
Yeah, this is great too. It's cute. I love the cat and the lizard tail. But okay, so let's get these done.
Oh yeah, I love this kind of stuff. Oh yeah, there's my spaceman guy.
Yeah,
really great. Look at all the composition.
There's a high likelihood they'll be in the folder that I'm going into, because the folder is more of a grab bag of Jeff's stuff that I've saved. So I don't even remember this piece.
Mystery of the Orient. I mean, what does that picture say about the mysteries of the Orient?
Like, can you make him look slightly Asian? The face looks like it was a repaint. Do you kind of notice that? Like
a little bit.
The figure and the head do not match at all. This looks totally like a stat.
I mean, it looks like it's got hair on the shoulders. It's like a Neanderthal picture.
Yeah, that's weird.
Maybe that's the mysteries of the Orient. Maybe Jadu is a.
Oh, this is cool.
Oh wow,
man, that is a great one. Fritz Lieber, Swords in the Mist. Man, that is a cool cover.
Is someone shooting his sword there?
Yeah, looks like it. Or yeah, or maybe
Ching. This is like you zoom in on just the body doing that arch and make that a heavy metal album cover.
Yeah. Right. Gosh, boobs. I'm nearly sure that he had a long time girlfriend or wife towards the end. This could be her.
This was another big one for me. I don't know why. I think it has such a 3-dimensional quality without doing too much. I don't know. It's just perfect placement of like value.
It's like a Renaissance painting.
Yeah.
This couch or chair that she's on is amazing shape. I love the on it. It's beautiful.
See how the hands, they're darker. Like there's more. It's not that there's more blood in the extremities, but that's something I've started doing because I've noticed that other artists like Jeffrey they're doing where the tip of the nose, the ears, the edges of the shoulders sometimes, and then the hands and legs. If you just kind of darken those little redder, or anything other than the rest of the body, it has a real effect somehow.
Definitely.
I don't know what that is, but
it's just, adding life. I used to always put a little bit of bloodshot in my eyes, and I'm telling you, people people would always go, God, man, the way that because I would do a lot of color pieces, a lot of little pinups, and they would always
a little bit on the corners.
Oh, they would always focus in on the eyes. They would go, man, I don't know about your eyes.
That's really it. You just put a little red on each edge, right here in the middle, right at the little. I always love this one too.
Yeah, it's great. And this is the black
composition
signature. So,
there's a part of me that like, oh man, I'd love to have the original of this, and there's another part of me that's like, I just want to paint my own,
And it's an artist really inspired you to create. This is such a cool piece. It looks like Peter Cushing too. It's so funny. Like this reminds me of him.
It does. It really does. Even though he never played the Mummy.
I know.
That you could see the underpainting technique here, which is really great. Did an underpainting. You could see it lower. It's all. See how it goes to that. It's not burnt umber. I don't know what that is. It's
could be burnt sienna.
Orange warmer. Yeah, and then just kind of, and as you go towards where she wants you to focus, it gets more opaque.
Right.
And that has a way of leading your eye to the up here up top.
What an amazing artist. It's we haven't talked about a lot of the personal struggles, but Jeff really suffered from alcoholism for a long time, depression. Obviously, being a transgender person was a lot of weight for him or her, and it's like it's such a shame that we may have lost 20 to 30 years of art just based on personal struggles from her. It's really a bummer.
Well, I mean, this is something that is pretty common in a lot of artists, is insecurities of related to work, and because a lot of it depends on whether or not anyone likes any of this stuff. It's always going through my head. Is like a combination of what gives me joy as an artist, but also what will bring joy in other people's eyes as well. I love this stuff.
This is beautiful. I mean, this could go in a museum, although not a contemporary museum. they're too arty farty. But man, this is so badass. I'm gonna zoom in so that when people,
I want to say that there are photos of Jeff posing out this stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think so. Oh, there's a cat in there. Yeah. I never noticed that.
That's beautiful. Oh my god. This is
I think you're getting a lot of $25 chats that I'm not being able to see
I'll
here.
I'll go back and check them out. And look, if so, do you think are the chats not coming up at all?
YouTube is doing weird stuff behind the scenes, and there's been all kinds of inconsistencies. So I'm just seeing I'm seeing at the top it flashes that a new one had come through, but nothing is coming up the chat.
I'll definitely check, and
we'll have to go back.
We can always do a follow-up to this video too, so don't worry. We'll cover everything. We promise. It's
I'd like to go back into this stuff. Maybe we can do errors, tighter looks into the different eras.
We're both so busy right now. Let's get into the pen and ink stuff really quick. Or not really quick, but
This is my favorite stuff. Yeah,
I have so much good stuff.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
I need to bring a couple hard drives over to your place.
We'll grab all this. This'll be plenty for the rest of the video. There may be a few pieces that are from other people, but we'll be able to weed them out. As I was transferring files, I kept grabbing the same folders, and it was pissing me off because it kept opening a bunch of stuff that wasn't Jeff that was in the folder. So I would have to keep deleting it every time I would merge it. Some of these files might not be super huge. They're your little space stories in the fishbowl head.
All this done a lot more than I thought.
Oh, I'm telling you, dude. I only went through 2 hard drives. I have like 13.
Oh God,
I'm crazy, dude. If I love something, I just it's the only child syndrome. I'm very clingy to things that I enjoy. That's why
I end up going back through my files and going, I haven't looked at this in years. I get rid of it, and then of course, as soon as I get rid of it, I'm like, where's that file? I'm like,
that's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into full screen mode. Now this is, I guess it's pronounced image. I'm
Hmm.
age. I am age.
Hmm.
So
I'll play on words probably.
yeah, this has got a little bit of a Barry Windsor Smith vibe, tiny bit.
Yeah, it does in the eyes, especially.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
cool. So we'll keep rolling. There's not too much to say on that particular one.
There was definitely a lot of interest in Native American stuff, folklore. A lot
With
of you can see a lot
neo,
of
is it?
interest in it. What?
I'm sorry, neoclassical romanticism. Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Well, definitely, but there's also you see elements of American Native Americans stuff as well,
Right.
imagery and various things. You can just see that when she does her own stuff like this, you could see like the stuff that
Yeah.
she's interested in most. Women, um, odd turns of phrases. Like she'll illustrate a lot of like funny stuff and then flip it on its head at the last moment, like
Yeah.
Twilight Zone.
Absolutely. So this is from 1984, which I find
Mm.
interesting. It's like well, quite a time before I was collecting comics, but it would be interesting to know what was coming out in like '84 that would be a contemporary of this work.
See, this looks a little looser than some of the other stuff I've
Yeah,
seen, but still perfect in form.
man,
Uh,
so it's
the scale of everything. This is something I struggle with a lot. Is the scale of anatomy. Sometimes I'll draw a hand too small or whatever, but you look at Jeff's stuff here, and it's just perfect scale of everything.
yeah. Oh my gosh, so good.
But it's usually very flat on. There's not a lot of extreme angles to stuff,
Right.
which could be easier to keep things in proportion. Maybe
This is nice.
look at the hands.
I
Wow.
know. He's flexing here. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna have a woman in like a dress and just do all these different sort of poses. It's really good, man. It's great.
Yeah, it's
So,
very similar to like Brian Boland. When you see him do like, what do you want to do, and he'll do this goofy little comic strip of a bald guy, sitting on a park bench. It's nothing like you'd want them to do. Like
right. Oh man, this
same
is
thing
so
with like Jeff. I just want to see like space adventures and like weird creatures, but rarely ever went in that direction. It was
I,
mostly these philosophical kind of musings.
in '84. Do you think he was? Well, he would have been out of the closet then, because I think him and Von Bode sort of put it out there that they were cross dressers at the time.
Yeah, maybe. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I would have to say that like most, I don't know about others, but I know artists in my sphere really wouldn't give a shit. I
Right.
mean, that's it. Is your art still amazing? All right, you're good.
Yeah, so I was just curious. I'm just thinking of the time frame, like in '83, if he was still sort of had to keep it like on the down low, or what
Well,
like
I
what.
know in Hollywood you did. If you were gay, because it would limit your chances of having leading man parts and things like that. As an artist, I would only assume that it would make you more interesting and therefore more sellable. Because a lot of times, fine art, at least, it helps if you're a quirky,
Right.
strange individual that has personality and that
Is this
kind of things. Hmm.
is this kind of considered the Gibson girl look? Like this profile? Is that the Gibson girl, or am I thinking of
I
it wrong?
wonder, Gibson. Let me look that up. Gibson girl. That was like the 30s or something. Oh yeah, it is.
Is it okay? I
Yeah,
thought
19th century, early 20th century. Gibson girl, illustration artist Charles Dana
oh,
Gibson.
so. Is it generally a profile that he was famous for, like a headshot profile? Is that like why they call it the Gibson girl? Is the Gibson girl like a nose?
It's part. I do see profiles in here, but it's just kind of a general look. the hair up.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of profiles. Yeah, so that is very much. But that's what these guys are all influenced by. That one interview I saw with all the guys from the studio, they're all saying, we weren't influenced by other comic book artists. We were influenced by magazine illustrations and fine art, things like that.
Yeah. It's a shame these aren't better scans like this. Beggars can't be choosers. But man, I bet like if you saw an artist edition scan of these inks, oh my god, it'd be so amazing.
I often wondered if this stuff was done straight to ink.
Drawn in ink.
Yeah, but I don't know. We have seen pencil stuff though.
Yeah, this is funny. This looks like Barry Windsor Smith too. It does, right? Doesn't it look like a Barry Windsor Smith drawing right there? That's funny.
I thought you were saying it looks like Barry Windsor Smith. Maybe.
This is nice, man. This is a really good drawing right here, and this is good too. It looks like she's aging. Am I tripping? What is going on? Like she looks like she's in her 40s or early 50s here. Here she looks a little older, and then here she looks really old and much more slim than here.
You might be able to glean something from the.
I don't read this. I don't read it. I'm a pictures guy. Someone asked me about something in a video or something that I had done, and I was just like, dude, I'm like 98% visual, except with my own stuff. With my own stuff, I'm into the stories, but yeah, I don't read a lot of comics.
The simplicity here, it's very sparse, but still has volume. It still has weight to it.
Have you seen the new Adam Hughes Hellboy issue that he just did? It's really good.
Yeah.
The story's cool too.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so controlled. I mean, it's like the opposite of this, where this is like
it's cute. I like this a lot.
Loose and I love the girl again. At the bottom there, just her pose is so natural, and that tree.
Yeah, I'm not myself today, she says.
You're better. You look all right to me.
She's cute. Really, really cute girl. This is nice too, man. Okay, so let's hustle because we need to get to the more off of the originals stuff. Man, this is crazy. He really loves to draw this tree. I don't know what kind of tree this is, but he does this type of tree a lot.
Yeah, Richard Dunn says, this really shows the difference between illustrators and cartoonists. Yeah.
Right.
I'm probably more of a cartoonist.
You think you are?
Yeah.
I think you have an illustrator in you.
There's an illustrator that wants to come out, but he's also lazy.
Well, you're getting
I'm also in love with sequential storytelling. So
yeah,
I'd rather draw 5 pages than 1.
Right. I have a very interesting theory on storytelling that I'll bounce off you, and we can talk about it in an upcoming video. But there's something I'm going to go through these a little quick, just because they're similar things.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it in another video. I have some theories.
The way she does boobs, I really like, because there's weight and there's just a subtle shadow right at the very bottom edge that I think helps give it that weight. I mean, as well as the way that they're drawn. But look at that skull, dude. Holy shit. That skull is amazing.
Even on the hair, he wants to draw the tree.
Get this girl a brush. Her hair is insane.
Yeah.
I guess these are like cave girls, so their hair probably wouldn't be nice and straight.
Yeah, this is a great piece. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Miguel Laura Rodriguez says Toulouse Lautrec kind of vibe. Lautrec, do you know?
I love Lautrec's work. I love.
I need to look that up.
Oh, it's so good. I spent about a year and a half just obsessed with like painted art or like that kind of stuff. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, right. Okay. It does compositionally, very much so. Yeah. And in figure work a bit, and in painting. Yeah, that's interesting. Probably was influenced. Look at that big ass. Man.
I know.
Very natural figures. Again, I'm just always wondering if this is coming from life studies.
Yeah,
it's like
really good. It's really good.
Somebody's head sitting there. Oh yeah, this is great. I love the masks. That's good stuff.
He's definitely influenced by Klimt too. Klimt and Egon Schiele. There's definitely not a particular piece, but I'm nearly sure that he was I know he was a fan of Klimt. I would assume Schiele probably would have been on his radar as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing some Kent Williams in this stuff too. Kent must have been influenced.
Yeah. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
here we go. Now we're talking my language.
It turns into like Wally Wood type drawing or Toth or something.
It looks a little Toth. This was Toth's series. I always say it was Toth's series because he started it, he designed the character, and then he did pages in like all subsequent issues were with that guy in those robes.
Wow,
this is great, love this super simple style with that flat coloring. God, I love that.
I do too. I think flat coloring and the right styles. Wow, this is so trippy. So is this? Do you think this
that really looks like another artist?
Yeah, this looks like Jeff's work.
That's Jeff. Yeah.
Then I think this might be the last panel that he drew.
Yeah. Yeah. See at the end, and then another artist.
Okay.
That's funny. Oh God.
Oh, here, let me.
I love this stuff.
Yeah. So Wally Wood too.
Yeah, I get a kick out of that old bloopy sci-fi stuff.
We have so much fun.
And that flat coloring, gosh, man, I want to do a throwback book.
Do it.
This kind of stuff.
I've talked about this for a while. I would love to have you be a part of it. I want to create like a magazine similar to like a old school fanzine. You know what I mean? Like where like you get 4 artists and each person does like a sci-fi story, and it's like a quarterly, but very underground feeling. You know, where it's very deep, do it yourself. You know, I want that vibe. It's
tricky to wrangle artists, but if you did like maybe one a year, like crowdfunded or something, you know, get people involved. You can have articles about artists in there too, so it's not just comics. Right. I used to love those kinds of magazines. Yeah.
No, I think too. I mean, you want something that someone can sit down and spend some quality time with. You know, you read the stories, you fantasize about the characters. There's information that's involved in it. Maybe things that are that could be upcoming. I think it would be a lot of fun. Now, someone will rip off my idea, but
WizGigs Entertainment says he can't stay. Just popped in to show support. Thank you, WizGigs. And then. Proper Comics says, hi, Hill Chat. How y'all doing? Hey. Yeah, Tom Forsythe's inks look better with flat color. I agree.
Yeah.
I want each part to merely accent and lift the other part without overpowering it. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's we'll see it. It'll come up later.
Oh, I love that stuff. Look at that.
This is a good example of what I was going to say. So there's a comic book page that I'm nearly sure I'll have in this folder that he drew. And he said he was having so much trouble with some of the drawings that he kept blacking stuff out. And he had talked about it like in an interview or in a book. And I was able to track down what page it was. And it was really, really funny how much he blacked out, because it was like the arm wasn't working. So he blacked it out. But this head kind of reminded me of it, where it was like, we look at it, we go, that's brilliant. Like, how did he think of the black head? And he was just like, I messed up the face. It's so funny.
Yeah, note to self. When in doubt, black it out.
Right? Reminds me of like a Jay Lee piece. You know, the side view and the shadowy and the sort of, look, here's the original of that piece.
Oh, you can see the varnish on it. It's real shiny.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe that's a glass piece on top.
Interesting. You can see a lot more color in the cat.
Yeah. See, this is why people make pilgrimages to museums and stuff, or like the Frazetta Museum, to go and actually look at it up front, because there's nuances that print will never be able to capture.
Look at the flesh colors in the leg.
Yeah.
I don't think they're looking so pinky.
That's what I was talking about. See how it's at the extremities and at the ankles, knuckles,
Yeah.
or the elbow.
Yeah.
That seems to be where, like, I don't know that that's reality. The blood pulls up in those areas, but it tends to look really great in color.
Well, look at these cooler purples that he put in this. Man.
Yeah, that's something I've been messing around with a lot, is that when I do skin tone, I don't just plop down a skin tone. I put a green, bits of like a real light green around here for men, and sometimes even women. But sometimes for men, it's to indicate like the 5 o'clock shadow, or and also see. I mean, even my skin, I got like purples and
right.
All kinds of stuff, and it really makes it a much more full feeling.
So these pieces are interesting, and I think one of the reasons that they're interesting, I'm not saying this piece exactly, but this is stuff that you may not be able to find online anymore. Me being the pack rat that I am, when he would post photographs of things that he was working on, stuff like that, I mean, I would always immediately save them. I'm sure there's other people out there that are like me that do the same thing. But once his website was down, this shit was gone forever.
Yeah, he had a great website that had almost everything, and pretty large files too.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff is saved from that period where he was living in like a little like studio apartment and doing his thing. So this is comic work that he did, but it's funny, it's got a very Wrightson feel to it.
Yeah, they were both working for like Eerie, I think. Some of those old horror mags.
Yeah, this definitely looks like Jones to me, but it's got a Wrightson flair.
It does. Sure. It's almost like Wrightson drew it and Jones inked it.
Could be. Yeah. Oh man, look at this. And you could be absolutely right. It's totally. This does feel very Wrightson-y, like the layout.
Yeah, it does.
So cool. This is a nice little drawing right here.
Richard Dunn wants to know if we've ever worked with Zipatone. Is it still manufactured?
I have a whole bunch here.
Oh, do you?
I do. Yeah.
I messed with it a little back in the day, and I really I enjoy the look, and I hate the work.
Yeah. I used it a little bit on Travis. I used it a little bit on Carlos Deanda. Richard Bennett was big on Zipatone. Yeah. So we were all
what I like is when you look back at like X-Men issues, you'll see Scott Williams but it's funny because he'll throw just a little bit right in on this computer in the background,
right?
And it's like there's no reason to do it really, but it does have a look.
So I still have quite a few sheets in a folder somewhere that I'll pull out for something. I'll figure out like how much I have and kind of allocate it to a job.
Do you think this is zip here?
It does,
or you think this is wash or not wash?
It's
zip.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes you can do a wash and the printing will create dots out of it.
Yeah, this is definitely zip, and they used it in an intelligent way because there's not real complicated cuts to sort of get it down. These are pretty tame silhouettes.
Yeah,
that's where it gets nightmarish, is if you have a real detailed silhouette. It's cute work. I don't remember ever seeing this before.
I love that organic inking.
This is nice right here, this panel of this guy's face.
I almost don't feel like I can get away with that stuff,
Well, maybe these guys felt that way too, and you just kind of believe in it, believe in the system.
Yeah. I guess I'm so wishy-washy. I know that I change at some point. So I'm trying to find the true voice right now. I think that's more important. It's finding out where you could be comfortable at for a long time.
An axe to grind.
That's great.
Yeah.
Look at how the light from the wall, it directs your eye from the top right down to her.
Yeah. So cool. It says Jeff Jones. I don't see art story by Jeff Jones. So, it's possible that maybe Bernie just sort of lend a little hand. So this is called 69. It's this doing
good figure work.
And he's like Barry Windsor Smith, beautiful, beautiful penmanship. Like Jeff's handwriting is just stellar. Okay, this is a book cover. We'd seen this. All right, look at this.
Anthar. Now this looks watercolor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I love the organic shapes. Even his beard is squiggly. Like everything is squiggly. I really like that.
Who needs an art book when you have us? Look at this. Where are you gonna find all this shit? Good. Go ahead and try to look online and cobble all this together.
Yeah, this is years worth of collecting. Yeah.
Taking a step into Psycho Rich's mind.
This is why I was like, oh, should I go get some pieces? And I'm like, no. Rich has got it all. Don't worry.
I don't even think of it that way, but it's just like we joked about this before, but I said I go like if it's like 11 o'clock at night and I find a website with like a ton of shit, I'm just like, no.
Yeah. I'm up for the next 3 hours. I love this style too because it's real clean line with, and then with the watercolor, not a whole lot of scratch or black. It's just clean, and then the colors, and real limited use of the color too. Letting the white show through.
This could be watercolor, don't you think?
But see on the shoulder there, her shoulder,
this right here
almost looks like marker.
But zooming in just the tiniest bit, I do see a little bit of texture on this paper, and I don't know my imagination. This panel almost looks like it's a stat, but actually I can see it on her flesh too here. There's a little bit of a dappled sort of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely watercolor, but the color of it and even how it blends together really looks like marker at times.
Okay.
Really strange, but there's no way. The texture of that paper, trying to use marker on that, it would be nuts. So I don't know.
And I mean, it bled really into this word balloon here quite a bit. It's funny.
More than likely, it's just watercolor or really, really watered down. Well, I don't know if you do oil on this kind of stuff.
This is 72, so a few years before. Oh, this is nice.
Good. This looks like this could be oil really, really watered down. Oh, that was weird. When you moved it, it looked like the black came off of the color.
Oh, how funny. It's 1974 print that they did. Wow, look at this up here.
Yeah, see, that's just like
medium.
Really, really wet on wet. You water it down, add your color, and then I guess when it starts to dry, you'll drop water bloops on it.
Oh, really? Water?
And then the water. Well, if this is watercolor, then the water.
I think it was oil. Sorry.
You could do the same thing with turpentine, and it has the same effect. Dave Dorman uses that effect quite well in oil, where he'll drop turpentine, or I guess whatever the solvent is that he's using.
Right.
I'm guessing turpentine, but it bleeds the color away off of and kind of lets the paper show through, and it has that really weird effect. He did it a lot on this. I'm gonna take some time.
It's funny because these kids, it's very 70s, like Hummels. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, right.
It's like he took what was popular in pop culture at that time and just turned it on its head and went like, oh, I'm going to make all the little cute kids devils or little vampires.
That's more of that romanticism stuff, but like you said, flipped on its head. Instead of cherubims, it's little demon cherubims,
Yeah. Is that the hair is so like that little Buster Brown or whatever. This is a nice little drawing.
Yeah, what he's sniffing. It's like a guy sniffing a bag or something.
Oh, it's not a bag. When I see stuff like this, I just go, man, I need to do more things like this because I enjoy seeing these little bits and pieces of drawing so much. And I always feel like sharing stuff like this would be not as interesting, but then I love seeing them. And it's like, I don't know why I don't just do it.
Hans Roger also says a little Gene Colan face. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A ton of stuff's coming through now.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at this.
Proper Comics says flat coloring is an invitation to leave the tonal stuff to the inker. Looks great for those who can pull it off. Yeah.
It's a little drawing.
Did you guys see the pencil? The Leg Kick One says, "Did you guys see the piece penciled by Roth, writes and inked by Kaluta?"
I don't know which piece that would be, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
Man, there's
look at that
on this.
Defining the shape with how the ink is applied.
That. He's just got these like swooped lines. Man, he's just going in, like taking it and just going like this is the rendering over the thigh.
This is pen, right? You think?
Yeah, pen or brush.
It's pretty ballsy. I get real nervous when I'm slinging it like that.
Yeah.
You're going to catch a little hook in the paper and just break that nib and it goes, and ink goes splattering across the page.
I'll be honest, I've looked at a ton of his stuff. I've never, ever seen that on any of his pieces where the nib catches and flicks. Yeah. It's interesting. And you rarely see any whiteout on his pieces either that I've noticed. There could be, but
I often wonder if the quality of materials were better. Now that they're mass manufactured for so many people, there's a lot less consistency.
Part of the trouble too, because I actually talked to the guy from Strathmore on the phone one time because I felt like he was being dishonest, and so I said, look, let's talk on the phone, because we were complaining about the paper quality through DC with Scott Williams and myself. But I got the guy on the phone. He basically said straight out, he said, look, there's so many restrictions on waste that we make for the paper in terms of chemicals that we can use. You just can't make paper now, at least in the United States, the way that they used to. There's too much toxicity. There's all kinds of restrictions on the trees, the whole thing.
Here's a quick question from Paulus Arts. Hey, Rich, do you want us to send questions for Surfazetta, or I wonder how?
You can put them in the comment section here, and I'll definitely see them. I'll read all the comments. So by all means, just put them here on this video.
Okay. Paulus is wondering if Frank ever lettered any of his own comics. That's interesting.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure we can ask her any of that stuff. She's very, very nice, very, very nice. It's going to be real fun.
We're coming up on an hour 52. Do you want to maybe go check the super chats? See if you missed any?
Yeah.
If you want to wrap this up, I got a jet.
I know. Sorry. So let me stop sharing screen. All right, and then I'm going to go to YouTube really quick.
If you want to wrap this up,
So let me stop sharing screen.
My voice is so deep. Hello there.
So go into YouTube Studio.
Yeah, I could literally do this all day, but my chores are screaming at me right now.
Yeah, no problem. I'm right there with you.
We may have to do another round of this just because we hadn't even really, haven't scratched the surface. This is just maybe 2% of everything.
Right. Okay, so they were all from Richard Dunn today, and I'm sorry.
The last one I saw was last one for today.
Okay, here they did it here. Now I can see it. So Jas did one, and just no comment. So thank you so much, Jas. And then Richard Dunn said, if you're interested in learning this type of painting technique, check out Patrick J. Jones, which I'm definitely going to check out. Oil painting techniques. He goes step by step. I'm actually very excited to see that. In fact, that will be my afternoon background. And then it says, I'm a huge Frazetta fan too. This was a $5 super chat from Richard. Richard did 3 today. A fan too, but you guys give him way too much credit. Jeff Jones was his contemporary along with others. This was a very popular style. So I definitely agree with that. And then we all do know that Jeff was clearly a huge Frazetta fan. The last one for today was, thanks so much for this stream. It really brings a smile to my face to see this work being discussed. This work really inspires and demonstrates the timeliness of solid artwork. Keep it up, guys. And again, Richard, you've been so generous on so many of our videos. I really appreciate it. And so thank you very, very much.
It's funny because the super chats kept coming at the top where it kept saying 25 and then 25. And I'm like, there's more coming in. I can't tell.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be sure that we got everybody.
But yeah, no, we love art and we love sharing it with you guys. And no matter how crazy the world is, this seems like a fun little like Wednesday thing. And I think we've done 8 now.
Oh, good. Cool. Yeah, these are fun. I mean, there's so many that, I mean, somebody was mentioning Gene Colan. I'd love to go through some Gene Colan. Because like when I was getting into comics, Gene Colan was towards the end and it was all like pencils. Nobody had the guts to like ink him.
Right.
And then I started digging into his stuff and you're like, holy crap, this is like amazing. Yeah. So there's so many people. And of course, more Jeffrey Catherine Jones for sure.
Sure. And look, anytime you have a recommendation for a future upcoming show, just you can either tweet to us or just put it in the comment section of one of these videos. We're always online, you know what I mean? I'm on Instagram, back on Instagram.
And we're subject to a sudden burst of inspiration. So if you hit it just at the right moment and we're like, oh yeah, that would be cool. You know, like the album cover art thing was genius.
Yeah, that was Antoine. So I was going to say too is something for people to look forward to is we are going to start doing manga, and I want to really pick your brain on that shit because I know you're gonna.
I got a ton. I love manga going back to the 70s even. It's got some really great stuff. So yeah, I'd love to share some of that.
Oh yeah, I want to learn.
Even some modern stuff. I've been looking through, and man, you talk. People love anime, I guess, because it's a no-brainer. They can just sit there and watch it, move around, and do amazing things. But I'm telling you, the artistry in manga far outweighs what you're seeing in anime. In fact, most anime is directly drawn from the manga and then dumbed down. You know. It's cleaned up and made very, very simple for animation. But what you're seeing in the manga is just some amazing stuff.
It'll be awesome. So we'll do that probably in like mid-December. We'll get really down with that. I'd like to do a few in a row. So, okay, cool. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks everybody. So you guys had a fun show. I'm definitely going to be going back over this one.
I'm going to watch it back right now while I'm working.
I still need to watch yours and Eric's go down the Mobius, right?
40 Days in the Desert. It was good. It was fun.
Oh yeah. Go check that one out if you guys hadn't seen that one.
You can watch me flail after he bailed for like. I was just like, oh my God, like I'm live streaming by myself and like it seemed so quiet.
I remember somebody doing that my first time getting on a stream and then somebody's like, here, hold it down. Oh, it's Cecil. He's like, I'm going to go get some ice. And I'm sitting there like, I know. Okay. What now?
Well, I'm in Photoshop, so I can't see the chat, and I have my iPad out, and my iPad is like 20 to 30 seconds lagging behind what I'm doing. And so I'm looking down, and I'm showing art, and I'm talking about one thing on my computer, but the iPad is showing something completely different. And I was just like, oh, this is a mess.
Yeah, always go to the chat in those times because I find chat to be brilliant, and they're always up for interesting convo or funny stuff, and they'll save your life, man. You always go to the chat.
Totally. Okay, well, thank you guys very, very much. We're going to end it right here, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday. And we don't really have a plan for next Wednesday, so the ball is in the air, floating at this very moment.
Yeah. Give us an idea. See what we got. See what you got.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Jas, and everyone else. All right, bye, guys.
Later, gang.